He's very dangerous, he's playing fast game.
Yes, a very good evening to you. I'm David Mercer. Fru McMillan is alongside me as we greet the finalists of the 1998 Qatar Mobile Open, the second tournament to be completed on the 1998 ATP Tour. And what a story in that first one down at Adelaide, with Leighton Hewitt at 16 becoming the youngest winner of a men's tournament since Michael Chang back in 1988. Leighton Hewitt's reward, incidentally, he's of course got a special exempt entry into Sydney, the men's tournament in Sydney starting tomorrow, and he starts against the number 2 seed Jonas Bjorkman of Sweden. Tim Henman, who's defending his title in Sydney, starts against the veteran Australian Mark Woodford. And of course we'll be bringing you coverage of the semi-finals and finals of Sydney next Friday. But let's concentrate on this final, and Fru, it's one that I'm really looking forward to, because of all the players you would like to see in a final, I mean, these two, they have so much variety. It's not going to be biff bang wallop, it's going to be subtle skills.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Santoro with his two-handed play on both sides, with his great mixture of spins, particularly dangerous on his forehand side, where he can slice the ball mid-court, and I think that's going to be one of the telling factors, whether Korda can deal with it as Romano Grolotti tosses the coin here, whether he can deal with that underslice, that cut of Santoro's in mid-court, and whether Korda can dispatch it away to the corners. Normally Korda would like a little bit more pace. It's not easy really to hit shots like that for winners, and I'm sure Santoro will use quite a bit of it during the match.
Fabrice Santoro, who's already contested the doubles final, he had a busy day yesterday, beat Greg Ruzetsky and Goran Ivanisevic in the singles as we caught up after Friday's rain. He lost, though, in the doubles final with Olivier Delettre. They went down to the Indian Davis Cup team of Mahesh Bhupathi and Leander Paes, 6-4, 3-6, 6-4. And there was a huge Indian contingent in the crowd for that doubles last night. Peter Korda, he'll be 30 on the 23rd of this month, the number 3 seed, currently ranked 13. He was a quarter-finalist here last year, lost to Sergi Buguera when he was defending the title. And also now has a home in Bradenton in Florida, as well as Prague and Monte Carlo. Here with his wife, Regina, and their young daughter, Jessica. Here's his route through. So he beat Santoro's doubles partner, Olivier Delettre, in the first round, then Lars Bergsmuller of Germany. Then by far his toughest match, Tim Henman, in the quarters. Henman 3-love down in that final set, came back to 3-all, but then dropped his serve at 4-5. And a fairly comfortable victory over Andrei Medvedev yesterday. There were one or two hiccups on the way, but that's part of the enjoyment of Korda. He very rarely plays a perfect match. If he did, he'd be unbeatable.
Yes, there's normally a good chance that he'll drop his serve, and as you so rightly say, if he didn't, he'd win many, many more titles. He'd win a major, that's for sure. Remember, of course, he did get to the French final one year. So talented, but his nerve can just undo him. Although he has served in recent months quite a bit better than he generally does, it still proves to be every now and again his Achilles heel.
He's had all sorts of injury problems over the years, in particular groin problems. Finally got them sorted out last year, and of course came roaring back up the rankings, finishing the year at 13. He was briefly inside the top 10 when he won the Stuttgart tournament. Fabrice Santoro is the second-ranked Frenchman after Cedric Pierlin, but he'll be threatening him as a result of his performances this week. His route through, well, a tough match against the veteran Swede Magnus Gustafsson. Fairly comfortable against Martin Zinner. Greg Ruzetsky, a real ebb and flow match that, but Santoro always looked the more likely winner, particularly in the final set when he actually led 5-1. And then Goran Ivanisevic, well, no opposition at all in the first round, but then he had to come from a breakdown in the second.
Yes, it's almost the ideal preparation for Santoro, because Korda will now be the third left-hander that he's played in a row. And it always takes just a little bit of adjusting. But that adjustment took place against Greg Ruzetsky. And having beaten Ruzetsky and Ivanisevic, there's no doubt that Korda's serve will probably come through a little bit Well, like a very feeble club player's type serve. So is the distinction in pace between Korda's and even Isevic's and Rosetsky's. So he'll have to check his swing a little bit. It'll be a little groove to receiving something that's a little bit more dramatic and fast than Korda's.
Fabrice is here with his parents, Father Marcel, Mother Danielle. Marcel took up coaching Fabrice again last year. Of course, he had coached him in his early career. There's the head-to-head, and it is interesting that Santoro has that commanding advantage, including a pretty comfortable win in Marseille, which was on an indoor hard court last year. But Korda's been turning the tables on people all week. He had a losing record to Medvedev, albeit a closer losing record, and that was no problem.
Yes, you've got to be very mindful of it, particularly remembering there's Romano Grolotti from Italy. Remembering that when Santoro first beat Korda, it was 1990, so Santoro then was only an 18-year-old.
So a positive old man compared with Leighton Hewitt. Extraordinary performance by the 16-year-old. Let's have a look at what the winner and runner-up are going to take away. Well, $137,000 US to the winner and 81,000 to the runner-up. And those are the ranking points that you accumulate. So it'll be very interesting when the new rankings come out to see just how far up the rankings Korda and Santoro have gone. And also, Tim Henman will be looking anxiously to see how far down the rankings he's gone as a result of losing the points from getting to the final last year, and whether he's still going to be high enough to be seeded at the Australian Open. The local lycée, the local French school, out in force, and it's certainly been a feature of the week. The crowds, it has to be said, have not been that great. Of course, it is the holy month of Ramadan, and that may very well be a factor. Of course, people having to fast all day, literally, between dawn and dusk, and understandably people are a little tired of an evening.
Yes, not only that, of course the weather has been so crummy, so cold and windy initially. Today really has been the first day in which many of the people, and of course very few of the players left, have actually been able to enjoy some warm sunshine. I think they've almost been envy those folk back in Europe who somehow seem to have had the better of the weather.
Yes, it certainly has been the case that parts of the UK for the last few days have been warmer than Doha. It's quite ridiculous, really. But the nice thing about the crowds, although they haven't been that great in terms of size, they've been very loud in terms of volume. A lot of kids, and it's quite a few of the players have been commenting that it's rather like playing in a football stadium. Or perhaps given the Indian influence last night at Eden Park, Calcutta.
Yes, I'm sure it'll remind many of the tennis players of the many sounds that come out of the indoor stadium in Paris at Bercy, which attracts a lot of children as well. So perhaps Santoro will be just a little bit more at home in this sort of environment. Interesting there, you might have heard Romano Grolotti say that Santoro had won the spin of the coin and elected to receive. Now, very good reason for that. Not only is he a good returner of the ball, but in both his previous two matches, he's broken Greg Rosetsky in the opening game and also Goran Ivanisevic. So he'll be hoping to do the same against Peter Korda.
It's the best of three tie-break sets. Santoro playing in Doha for the first time, Korda for the third time, and of course Korda the champion of 2 years ago. Korda to get this final underway. .25 years of age, Fabrice. His birthday was last month. Born in Tahiti, but now living in Paris. his 11th double fault of the week, compared with 6 from his opponent.
Well, interesting, really trying the, by his standards, a fairly powerful first serve, whereas he'd had a great result, really, the previous time he'd served to the left court with the swinger. Well, he really is looking pretty uncomfortable with his serve, but he's just not sure about the net here. He thinks it may have come loose.
Yeah, it's come out of the... Oops, he really has broken that too. Now, that's going to cost us a couple of minutes to put that right, I suspect, because that's the little device that holds it into the ground. So we need a hammer out here.
Or some super glue.
Yes.
At least Korda will get a first serve after all this. Oops, that's going down to Australia. Santoro's parents on the screen, father on the left there.
Well wrapped up, despite the slightly warmer temperatures today. Well, while we're conducting the running repairs, his mum. Let's have a look at the past champions in this event, which started in 1993. Boris Becker, the inaugural champion, beating Goran Ivanisevic in the final. Stefan Edberg, who lost to Becker in the semis in that first year, then the champion for 2 years. Then Peter Korda, and last year Jim Courier. So Korda, the only man not to have ranked #1 in the world to have won this tournament. It's a very distinguished cast indeed, and he's been as high as #5 in the world.
And that victory of Edberg's in '95 was his last tournament victory, last ATP Tour victory.
Man on the court there with Romano Grolotti as the tour supervisor, Jerry Armstrong from Sussex.
But with a warm-up, that's not as essential. Just thinking of Santoro, when he got to the final in Lyon and won that tournament, his first ATP Tour title, he was also in the doubles final and also lost in the doubles final. So I'm sure as far as he's concerned for this event, having lost here again with Olivier Delettre.
Well, improvisation. I suppose we could call this a Heath Robinson contraption that is being brought out. Would have to happen in the final, the first game, in front of a worldwide television audience. Well, it's obviously going to be a moment or two before we finally get this contraption arranged and ready to resume. So what we're going to do is take a short commercial break, and we'll be back for the resumption. Then you've missed 2 points. We've gone from 40-30 to Korda to advantage Korda. So we're basically back to where we were. And more importantly, the net's back to where it should be. So Peter Korda wins the opening game of the final. But a typical Korda game, really, Fru. I mean, a beautiful first point, a lovely last point, and some distinctly ordinary ones in the middle.
Yes, exactly. It could well be a feature, of course, his double faulting. He's a man who averages around about 5 double faults a match, which is really very high. Too high, frankly, because it's not only the number he serves, but it's when he serves them. And he was broken a couple of times in his match against Medvedev, and on both occasions he served double faults in that game. In the second set, broken once and served actually 2 double faults. So Santoro will be wanting to worry him with his return of serve and just with his all-round skills to make Korda think there's bound to be pressure at the best of times, that there's certainly always pressure early on in a final.
It's the royal box at the far end, and many members of the ruling Khalifa family here today. Love one then in the first set.
Well, this is what I was referring to earlier. There's that cut from Santoro on his forehand side, and it's going to be how efficiently Korda is able to deal with it. Certainly no problems there. Korda's always a swinging player, a delightfully swinging and fluent player. But Santoro's just got to reconcile himself to the fact that Korda may strike gold a few times here, but he may not necessarily always do it. He'll persist. Well, there's evidence of the problem. Your technique has got to be absolutely right because you're not being given a lot of pace, so you can't use the opponent's speed. And you've got to produce all of it yourself virtually.
Pinpoint accuracy on the pass. Oh, it's been called out. I don't believe that.
Certainly looked good to me.
Romano Grillotti, though, nodding his approval of the decision. I must confess, I was utterly convinced that was on the line.
Yes, this may be a little inconclusive. It is on the far side from umpire Grillotti. Not easy for him to overrule. It seemed to me to get a bit of the line.
The decision is out, and it's break point. And not often you see Fabrice reacting like that. And he gets a code violation. Well, he smiles at that, but he knew it was coming.
It is foreign territory for him. And this is also foreign territory because in every other match he's broken his opponent's serve. Umpire Grillotti's pretty adamant that he's obeyed the rules. He's seething, isn't he?
Well, from the look of his forehead, I think Peter spent a little bit too much time out in the sun today, trying to get acclimatized to the temperatures awaiting him in Australia.
The slice was there again. He might well have tried to overhit it right away. Santoro getting some help from his folks in the stands. They'll be trying to reassure him. Mother's telepathy should do it, generally does.
He's trying to calm him down, I think, at the moment.
Yep. I don't think he'd be sending umpire Grillotti a Christmas card next year, or this year.
Well, his concentration really is totally disturbed at the moment, Santoro, and that's a shame that what on paper looked to be such a lovely final might be affected by that incident. Let's hope not. 3-love. Speak to Fabrice, and he's still seething, and it's so out of character.
Yeah, so we really can't be sure what he said, but his reaction almost seems to suggest that he feels he's been very unjustly treated. And I think it goes a little further than that, because Santoro's family is of Italian origin, and perhaps with Grillotti applying it, he feels that this isn't the sort of treatment that ought to go to somebody of Italian heritage.
Love 3. Well, of course, since the incident, he's now lost 6 successive points. It's getting a little serious.
Yes, he just lost all equilibrium, really, and of course Korda's feeding on it rather nicely. It's lobbed, it's normally so pinpoint in its accuracy, falling far too short, held up with the underspin.
So that breaks the spell.
And Korda not able to keep it deep enough here. Handing it to Santoro on a plate, really.
You can just see in the reaction there that he's still so out of sorts mentally, Santoro, and it's such a shame. 2 points of 4-love.
Korda's got just the sort of game, of course. He takes those risks, admittedly rather beautifully, when they come off. Hits the ball so flat and hard, it's always going to be a lot of moving for Santoro to do, with Korda middling the ball.
I think Mum is going to have too many nails left by the end of the night, by the looks of it.
No, it's really an ordeal for them. Well, there again is that flatness on the Korda drive, and Santoro having to resort to a one-handed forehand here. And Korda, of course, with all the skills.
It's funny, I'd never thought of Fabrice Santoro as fragile mentally. You think of Korda being fragile mentally, but I'm amazed how that incident has really got to him.
Yes, I think the point is that it's so out of character. People who are used to doing it, of course, are used to doing it and are accustomed, therefore, to dealing with it. But for Santoro, because it's so much against the grain, he really has never perhaps been in this situation before. Doesn't know how to react.
It's a second successive love service game for Peter Korda, and since the incident, Fabrice Santoro has won precisely 1 point. 5 love Korda.
Probably never been in this situation before, and here we are in the final of a tournament where he desperately needs to have his legs about him, to have his thoughts very clear. With Korda hitting the ball well, he's a two-handed on both sides, Santoro, remember. He's really got to do a lot of motoring.
Well, let's hope he can get started, at least get his name on the score sheet and settle down in time for the start of the second set. Love 5 in the first.
Well, perhaps we should be centering a little bit more now on Korda, because this is just such a wonderful timer of the ball. He doesn't have the look of somebody who's barely lost points here and has always got his opponent on the rack or on the stretch.
Every point is an achievement for Santoro at the moment. Two set points. Well, an interesting change of tactics from Santoro, but nothing is affecting Korda. 6 games to love, a set that lasted 28 minutes, but I would have thought at least 15 minutes of that were for the interruption.
Well, that's right, yes. And I think only about 8 points won by Santoro. When you consider that Korda serves at least 2 or 3 doubles in it, he's hardly winning points. What he really needs is quite a bit more time here.
Well, Peter's wife and daughter have been taken by surprise. They've arrived to find hubby's already a set up. Well, that can't be bad. Here's the second set. Now, the big question is, can Santoro put everything behind him and say, OK, fine. That set's gone, the incident's gone, let's get started. Ivanisevic showed us that it's perfectly possible against him yesterday.
Yes, and there's an adage in the game that you never beat a good player 6-love. Something you can't improve on, and of course it stings them into some kind of a reply. Let's just hope that Santoro's got the stomach, or perhaps more precisely the sort of mentality, the mind, to overcome. Well, that won't have done him any good, but of course that was the very line down which he hit the ball which started it all. And those thoughts will be coming back. Now perhaps he's just thinking of all the tennis he's played yesterday.
Yes, 3 matches ending just after midnight. Although, of course, it's this match scheduled to start at 8 o'clock in the evening, so hopefully he had a long lie-in this morning. And sometimes the body clock prevents that.
Well, it's a big point, that, because again, given no pace, everything had to be just right for Korda, but quite immaculate.
This time he didn't get everything quite right. Pity, there was an opportunity there.
Yes, it was short, really, and all this week he's been handling those shots with ease. Well, I think we can safely say now that Santoro's, if not on an even keel, he's just about to get into the match.
It's brilliant forehand, a pretty good effort from Santoro to get it back, but a superb shot from Korda.
Well, the camera work ain't all that great, but nor is Korda's serve, and Santoro somehow has got to try and get hold of these second serves a bit. He's been offered a lot of them.
So Korda comes through the toughest game of the match so far. Couple of deuces, and he leads by a set and 1 game to love. Huge game coming up for Santoro. Pretty difficult for these young French fans to have anything to cheer about.
Yes, I think that's true. We know that Korda can slip up, but I think if Santoro does lose the serve here, he will be so almost utterly demoralized that really it's going to be a monumental effort of his to come back. So it's a must-hold situation.
Serving with new balls.
It was always going to be a problem with Korda striking the ball well for Santoro with his two-handedness to get to shots. But of course what he's been able to do in the past is just get to enough of them to cause Korda in the end to begin to make errors.
Oh dear, but he's making elementary ones himself at the moment. Picture of despair. Korda breaks to love. Jesse in the middle, coach and wife on either side.
Yes, the chances are that Jesse could probably do as well as Santoro. Speaking from personal experience, everything's got to be right for this man. When you think of it, two hands on both sides, they've always got to be in sync, those hands. You can't have one hand acting against the other. And that's a problem, let alone when your mind's not in sync with your hands. Now suggesting that the legs are giving out as well. The 3 matches he played yesterday have indeed taken their toll. Well, they certainly do, don't they, when you're uneasy. I mean, if he'd had a terrific start to this match, all that will have been forgotten. And it might only have raised its head had it been a long 3-setter. Well, one begins to think in terms of double bagels here, a 6-love, 6-love score, which in a final will be quite a rarity. Yes, we could have another record broken today. Certainly Leighton Hewitt is the youngest winner on the ATP Tour, which of course only started at the beginning of the 90s. And I cannot remember a final being won 6-love, 6-love on the ATP Tour. And I really hope that it doesn't happen, because it will be a terrible moment for this young man. But at the moment, you have to say it's a distinct possibility. It's 10 successive points to Korda. And it's a conspiracy, isn't it? It's just all going wrong. Now, he has been thinking, as we've seen, moving his legs, feeling his legs. The muscles are beginning to hurt. And, of course, now it's all because of his matches yesterday and a tough week, the first tournament for him this year. But none of that would have been in his mind had it been a terrific start. And Korda, of course, makes things difficult for any player when he's hitting the ball as well as he's doing. Well, all credit to the French supporters. They're staying very loyal to their man, wishing him desperately to get on the scoreboard, and I must confess, so am I. Those are 3 people who aren't, though. I'd be very happy to see Peter back in the locker room, 6-love, 6-love.
Fro's just been ploughing through the record books. There were just 3 six-love matches last year. Six-love matches, I should say. And none of those were finals. There were 2 first-round encounters. Alex Correcha over Nuno Marquez in Monte Carlo. Jorge Barillo over Thomas Nidal in Mexico City. And a quarter-final. Brett Stephen beat Mark Woodford in Newport, Rhode Island. That's a surprising result. But beginning to look as if we could have one in a final this year. I mean, Korda just can't miss.
No, he's that far ahead, really, that there's no pressure at all in his mind. I'm sure he very often creates pressure because he knows he's lost matches when he's been ahead before.
And that's 14 points in a row.
Well, it could certainly end up being a final with some of the fewest points perhaps won by a player. Only 12 points he's won so far. Almost had a premonition of this yesterday, didn't we? Because you remember when we were talking about it, I said one of the problems with building up these matches is that they very often don't deliver. I must admit, I didn't think it would be this bad.
No, quite. Clutching at straws, but at least there was a sign of aggression and a good positive mood.
Yes, and who knows, Korda may serve 10 successive double faults or something. He's not going to oblige. Almost a one-man show. And he's no Billy Connolly as Korda.
Well, here's a little milestone in the match. It's the first time Santoro has had a game point. Hey! Yes!
Is he going to retire now? Retire to the chair.
Well, a feeling of great relief, I'm sure, is flowing through Fabrice Santoro. Not a lot else is flowing for him. And great relief for his mum and dad as well. But Although he's got one of the breaks back, it's still a huge mountain that he has to climb. 4-1.
That he might, and not just the mental strain that he's gone through here, but more likely the physical strain. That's what will give him the excuse to get out of it.
He plays Alberto Berasategui in the first round, and if he wins that, he will come up against either the top seed Patrick Rafter or Todd Woodbridge. Four successive points.
Korda just gets him on the run and anticipates the sliced reply, which very often confuses opponents, wisely taking it on the fly. We've seen him do it quite successfully occasionally. I remember against Thomas Muster in Monte Carlo, time and time again, bring those off.
Sadly, it looks as if the little bubble has burst. Never exactly got up to balloon size. Point for 5-1. Well played.
Well, some genuine applause on this occasion rather than just screams, because I think those can sense what Santoro might have done to Korda.
He committed himself so early there with Santoro, and he doesn't feel he has the legs to twist and turn. Aha! Best rally of the match.
And a combination of volleys here. There's the one-hander, and Korda goes back to the same side, and there's the two-hander. One of the few who actually volleys with two hands as well.
Well, 10 successive double faults. Maybe Santoro will get 10 successive lucky net courts.
Yes. It's not good to see him in this situation apologizing. I think it's Korda who ought to do a little bit of apologizing now and again for Just hammering home all these nails.
There certainly is some courage.
Perhaps even the liquid sort would sort him out.
Yes. French don't normally like British warm beer, though, do they?
Oh. It's all going haywire here.
No, he's missed it.
Well, it's a shot and a point really that Korda ought to have made in the end. He had quite a bit of a gap there.
The second successive game for Fabrice Santoro. Scoreline looking far more respectable. And, well, if he could somehow summon up some of that courage and get another break, it might just get interesting. Now then, will Korda get a little twitchy? 4-2.
And I thought just for a split second the Korda arm seemed to be a lot heavier than it's been throughout. But he managed one of those mid-court forehands all right, and I think that just made the difference. Well, he's not going to jig and smile until he's shaken hands the winner.
Last we're seeing some of the tennis that we were hoping for in this match.
Yes, one. Santoro was going to move here, but he should remember that Santoro's legs are saying to him, don't do too much moving, and in which case you go for the open court.
No, it's a terrific shot. Santoro deliberately offering him no pace, a high bounding ball, and Korda just gobbles it up.
It's one of his idiosyncrasies to always look around to the side of the court. This is how he is at the best of times, Santoro.
I wouldn't be at all surprised to pick up a morning paper in a couple of days' time to hear that Santoro pulled out of Sydney with a knee problem in order to be fit for the Australian Open. And if it's a genuine one, fair enough. But suddenly, Korda's unable to win the game points. He had 2 in the last game. He's had 2 in this one. That's a poor shot, and would you believe it, Santoro's got a point to get back on serve.
This is quite amazing. This Korda's inability really to do much damage with the first serve. Still looks pretty groggy, doesn't he? Reassures the family just a little bit, but it was the serve that opened up the court.
Another game point goes a-begging.
And Santoro will quietly be feeding from this, even subconsciously. This Korda's inability to wrap it all up. Give him some distant hope.
Is that call surprised Korda? And me. Oh, and that's a wasted opportunity, really, by the Frenchman.
Just by his standards, snatching at it a little bit. Not quite the harmony.
Just missed that one as well, and that, you suspect, has probably sealed the fate of Fabrice Santoro. Korda grits his teeth and says, right, one more game. Away from winning in Doha for the second time in 3 years. Santoro 2-5, second set.
Very different match from the one he played against Alanui, where he won in a tiebreak in the third set.
Santoro, if he could just force Korda to serve out for the match, who knows? It's still possible.
Yes, and it's amazing how often you tell yourself that you're going to win this game from Korda's perspective, and the shots just won't come, and justice is served, of course, and you've got to go out there and do the brave thing and serve for it.
The corrected call there. Called fault and corrected. So it's a let first serve. It's a love game for Fabrice Santoro. And Peter Korda will have to try and serve it out. And Korda's mind is all over the place. He thought it was a change of ends.
Ironic, isn't it, the way he played that game, because he almost looked like Santoro, not even coming close really with his shots.
Smile of relief. Interesting that he took it on the full.
Yes, I'm sure 1 minute it's a frown, or 1 second it's a frown, and the next second it's a smile. Santoro doing his best to torture Korda with those high bouncing balls.
That's a good get, but I can't help feeling that in other circumstances Santoro would have run down the volley.
Yes, he was just a little hesitant here, Korda, and did really well to get out of this in the end, because it was a very, very difficult volley to come up with. He just left his charge a fraction late, and so was nearer the service line. Still can't buy a first serve.
Two match points.
Well, Santoro thought it was a double fault.
Korda's the champion for the second time in 3 years. And here goes the little scissors kick. Yes, relief. I suspect he felt it slipping away a little bit. We sensed it. But that's one of the nice things about Peter Korda. You know he's a human being, that there's a nervous twitch in his game and in his mind.
Yes, that's exactly right. Just that little bit of fragility there. It was this tournament that meant so much to Korda when he won it a couple of years ago. He dreamt of winning on an operating table. He went in for a groin injury, or a groin operation. And perhaps, who knows, that revived his fortunes then. This may well revive his fortunes into his attempt to get nearer the top of the world.
Commiserations, obviously, for Santoro. He clearly ran out of steam. I hope he can learn the lesson of what happened in the second game of the match, when he just allowed his composure to be totally disturbed, and it all went downhill very rapidly from there.
Yes, well, having been bitten once by this sort of fracas, Santoro, I'm sure, as you're implying, he'll be a lot wiser. But it's going to be scant relief now. You almost forget the fact that you're in a final. Of course, your last memory is a losing memory, and it's such a shame because he's had such a good week. Remember, beating both Greg Ruzetsky and then Goran Ivanisevic, and finally it's a third left-hander who gets the left-hander's revenge on Santoro.
So there's our next tennis on Eurosport. It'll be the semi-finals of the Sydney International from the White City in Sydney. It'll be at 11:15 UK time in the evening. Simon Reed will be bringing you that, and also the final on Saturday evening. And then Frew and I will be linking up with Simon and Bob Hewitt for the first Grand Slam of the Australian Open, starting a week tomorrow. Thanks very much for your company this week. Sorry, we've had one or two problems along the way. The tournament's been a bit jinxed, doesn't it, with bad weather, the equipment failure, and then something of an anticlimax of a final. But a very, very popular champion. He's a super guy, Peter Korda, and he is the champion once again. Speed skating is next from Fred McMillan and myself, David Mercer. Bye-bye.